Hello everyone, my name is Sutton the Wolf, and welcome back to Memories Dogma, Code 1. It's been a while since I've been here, had a lot of other series start up, but I'm excited to get back into this game and see what happens. I was really curious. I remember I was finishing up the last session of this, and I was a little bummed because I didn't get to know what was happening, but I figured like more than 7 episodes of one game in a row probably isn't a great idea. Purino party. Anyways, if I remember correctly, we had just broken out of that station. I can't remember what it was called. The place where you can see all the memories, and like talk to people who are dead. And we met up with a girl who saved our life. Met back up with our best friend, and I honestly can't remember what we're doing after that. I think we're just kind of like running away from the place. I don't know, but we'll see. The high school we used to go to, Fuchu, uh, Fuchuhoku High, is about 1 kilometer north of Fuchu Station. Fuchuhoku. Fuchuhoku. Okay, Fuchuhoku High. The school gates aren't electronically locked, so instead of your MRD, you just use a key to open them. However, there are a few other places aside from the main gate where you can make your way onto the campus. You could call them physical security holes. Everyone at school knows about them, yet they still haven't been fixed. Thanks to that, we're easily able to sneak in. We walk through the unlit hallways and make our way to the audio-visual room. Oh yeah, one thing I was going to say, guys. I tested this out with Nekopara, and I think I'm going to do the same thing here. I know they have voices, and they have proper voice acting, but I'm going to say what they say anyways. And I'm going to do that primarily because I know there are some people who listen to these videos and don't actually like actively watch them. They'll just like put them on in the background while they're doing other things, or circumstances will present themselves to where people are just listening rather than watching actively. And so, since I assume most of the people watching this don't speak Japanese, I'm going to be saying what they say so that people who are just listening can actually understand what's going on. So, Reina says, the security at the school is unbelievably bad. I can't believe a place like this still exists in this day and age. Just as Reina says this, there are almost no buildings in this day and age that don't use MRDs to authorize entry. That's also the reason we avoided our university. Kakeru and I are in the engineering department. It's only natural that an engineering school would have pretty good security. It's impossible to enter the building without your MRD, and if you do use your MRD to gain access, there's a log of who entered at what time. It was Kakeru's request that we use this in audio-visual room instead. In today's society, there are Wi-Fi hotspots all over the place. There are Wi-Fi hotspots all over the place you can access just by verifying your ID. Thought there was a grammar error there, but I just fucked up. This verification process is almost automatic, so you're pretty much always connected to a Wi-Fi hotspot without having to manually select it. By the way, MRDs are usually also charged through a power over Wi-Fi system as well. However, there's no such Wi-Fi in this school. Instead, this room has a number of cables connected together to create a LAN, to be used for informatics classes and the like that require a network connection. There's a router that connects this LAN to the outside network, so all anyone can see from the outside is the global IP of the router. That means all anyone could ever figure out is that someone connected to the internet from this school. In other words, this is one of the few places you can connect to the internet without having to be verified through your MRD. I never thought the day would come that I'd be thankful this place is basically a net island. As he says that, Kakeru takes a seat in the front seat of the classroom and puts his bag on top of the desk. He takes his lap. That is an actual grammar error. Okay. He takes out his laptop and card reader. Reina and I sit down next to him. It feels like the desks are smaller than I remember. It's only been half a year since I graduated, but everything related to my time in high school feels like a faraway memory. Will my memories of Sotono return into fragments of the past as well? Now's not the time to be worrying about this. Alright, so where do we start? First, we've got to analyze the data we've got. Kakeru plugs a LAN cable into his laptop. Man, that laptop is old. And starts talking very quickly. Technically speaking, the data I borrowed from the Connect Center isn't exactly a copy of her memory data. Eh? But didn't you just say you copied her memory data? Sorry, I didn't have time to really explain it. It would have been a pain. So I just said that to make it easy for you to accept. That phone terminal didn't have the authority to copy any of the data to itself in the first place. And even if it had, there's no way a card like this is big enough to hold the enormous amount of data that constitutes a person's memories. That makes a lot more sense. I was wondering about that. Like, I know this is in the future and everything, but it seemed like having that tiny little card was a bit much. That's true. A person's memories must take up an insane amount of space. Now that he mentions it, it's pretty obvious a card like this wouldn't have enough capacity to store a person's memories. Then, what exactly is this data we worked so hard to steal? The key. The key? Yeah. Great job, guys. Way to inform everyone. It's the key, or password required to connect to the database within the Connect Center that actually holds her memories. Oop, I just cut him off, sorry. So we just need to find out what route we need to take to get to this password to get this password to their database. Man, I'm having issues with Kakeru's lines. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the voice. So then, if her memory data ends up getting digitomed. Yeah, this data I copied will become useless. So we've got a 6-day time limit. It's already night, so more like 5 days. We've only got 5 days left. It's not a lot of time. So what did you mean earlier when you said the data you pulled was incomplete? The Connect Center's authentication system is pretty good, so in order to access its very heart, one key isn't enough. From the looks of it, they've got 5 different forms of authentication. We ran out of time while I was copying over the 5th key, so I wasn't able to get all of it. So before we do anything else, we've got to get the rest of that 5th key. Won't that be pretty hard? I may not be as much of a genius as Kakeru, but I'm an engineering student too. I can guess just how difficult it would be to try and get into the Connect Center's authentication system. Now, just leave everything to me. Kakeru says confidently before turning back to his laptop. Whenever Kakeru says he'll do something, he does it, so I know he'll pull through. Before long, I start hearing the rhythmic tapping of Kakeru typing away on his keyboard. Listening to him typing starts bringing back memories of high school. Ooh, flashback. All we ever really used this audio-visual room for in high school was English listening classes. We had to listen to these people talking in English really fast and then type out what they said word for word. Then the teacher would call on people at random and have them repeat what was said. It was a pretty hard class. I can imagine. Like, that sounds pretty equivalent to what I've done at times in Spanish classes. However, a lot of the time that's written rather than typed. So a lot of the time it's like a little bit slower so you can actually write stuff down. I can only imagine how hard it must be to actually understand what someone's saying in another language when it's like really fast. If you didn't get the right answer, then you'd have to stand it until someone else did, so everyone hated that class. It's like all of the rules he made were designed to make you suffer. I remember one day after class, the girl who was sitting in front of me turned to the girl next to her and yelled at her, "Hey, what the hell? Do you think I'm stupid or something?" Mizunatsu Sorano. She was the girl who was being yelled at. It's all a vague memory now. I wasn't exactly eavesdropping, but since the whole thing pretty much played out in front of me, I more or less figured out what had happened. When that girl had been called on to answer, she completely blanked, so Sorano had whispered the answer to her. Apparently the girl wasn't very happy about that. I was just thinking, it's not like I didn't know. But because of you, I was forced to stand there and be made a fool of. How humiliating. Honestly, she should have been thanking Sorano for trying to help, but there she was just yelling at her. Personally, I thought it was pretty unfair, but Sorano just sat there quietly, making no effort to fight back. To make things worse, other girls joined in to attack Sorano too. Don't think you're better than us just because you're a little smart. She never talks, I can't tell what she's thinking. Why don't you say something, huh? Too good for us? The more they insulted her, the smaller Sorano seemed to become. But even then, she didn't say anything back. She just continued to endure the abuse. I felt disgusted watching them gang up on her like that. It was just a spectacle of one-sided abuse. I hate that, to be completely honest. I've been in a situation where there are people just like going to town on someone. Like not this bad, but like there are definitely times where people get kind of ganged up on, and it's usually like teasing and things like that. It's not like full out insults, but it's kind of like it really is disgusting to look at. I really hated that in high school. And like you can only do so much. Like if you come in and like try and help the person, then sometimes that can have a negative effect as well. So a lot of the time I would just like plus I didn't want to like seem like I was eavesdropping, because that's kind of offensive. At least I thought that way back in high school. And so a lot of the time what I would do is I would like wait until it was all over, and then I'd like go to the person who was being yelled at and be like, hey, are you okay? Like that kind of thing. Just make sure like not enough damage was done. I know there's better ways to do that, but I mean, I was in high school. I didn't really know any better. So what are you going to do? It's just kind of a bummer, you know, kind of a bad situation. It reminded me of the time when everyone had deemed me unnecessary. I didn't even understand why they had to be so cruel, and all I could do was bear the pain and sadness, simply praying for it all to end soon. With that abuse, it felt like it stretched on for an eternity. Honestly speaking, I never really liked getting involved in fights between girls. Yeah, those are vicious. Like, getting in between, like not even just girl drama, or gossip, but like getting involved in an argument between two girls. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm saying that girls are worse than the guys. Like, I'm not trying to say that, but like, man, it's scary. Like, sheesh, those are terrifying to get in between. I didn't even know anything about Sutton, but just that once, I wasn't able to let it go. If she thought she was too good for you, then she'd have just sat there and laughed at you. Can't you tell she was just trying to help? I thought I just muttered these words to myself. My voice came out louder than I thought, and the girls all turned around. Sutton, too, turned around to me in amazement. It was only natural, I suppose. A loner like me who never talked with his classmates had suddenly butt into their conversation. I panicked, trying to think of what to say next. Then suddenly, someone else joined the conversation as well. It's your guys' fault for being stupid. The one who said those harsh words isn't Kakadu. The girls all stormed off, spitting words like, unbelievable, and who does he think he is? As we watched them all leave, Kakadu and I looked at each other and exchanged our very first words. Think I went too far? Nah, I was thinking the same thing. Then Sutton finally relaxed a little and smiled. I remember that part very well. It was a very warm smile, like that of the spring sun. It was from that day onward that our relationship started to grow. Sutton called out to Kakadu and me, and took us to that cake shop, Zelkova, as thanks for helping her out in class. Sitting there across from everyone in the corner of the cafe, I felt a profound sense of comfort being with them. My only impression of them before was that Sutton was a quiet girl and Kakadu was a gadget otaku who was always fiddling with some machine or the other. When I actually talked to them, I realized we got along pretty well. We talked for hours that day, as if we'd already been friends for ages. I found out later that Kakadu and Sutton had known of each other for a while, but never really talked. Of course, they thought of me as just the mysterious transfer student. I remember Sutton smiling as she said it was strange how we were able to get along so well despite all that. Oh, no more flashback. What's wrong? We'll find out what's wrong on the next episode. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you can, guys. All that stuff really does help me out as a YouTuber, and I love hearing what you guys have to say. So, until next time on Memories Dogma Code 1. Ow!